Several of the Midwestern states mandate the use of straight-walled rifle cartridges for hunting in their states, which of course, as you can imagine, drastically limits the number of options that sportsmen in those states have for rifles as well as chamberings. Well, back in 2016, Remington Ammunition started development on what it envisioned as the ultimate straight-wall rifle cartridge. And while those plans were waylaid for a couple years due to some corporate turmoil, now that Remington is once again thriving under the new ownership of Vista Outdoor, we're finally seeing the fruits of all those labors come into market in the form of the 360 Buckhammer. The name may not be subtle, but the confidence really isn't misplaced. This is a rimmed cartridge that uses the 30-30 as its parent cartridge. However, it launches a significant 3.58 diameter bullet up to speeds between 2,200 and 2,400 feet per second out of a 20-inch barrel, depending on the load. What this means is it ends up generating about 2,200 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, and while its trajectory does limit this to a 200 to 250 yard cartridge, within that range it is very potent for deer-sized game, hogs, even black bear. As far as cartridge design goes, it's hard to get more simple than this. Remington literally starts out with a 30-30 case, but rather than going through the extra steps of giving it a bottleneck, they cut it short at 1.8 inches and give it a slight taper. Cartridge overall length is spec'd at between 2.35 and 2.5 inches, which ends up making it just a little bit shorter than a 30-30 in most loads, but in the same ballpark. So far, the initial offerings from Remington include a 180 grain and a 200 grain core-locked soft point, and also sister company Federal is also coming out with 180 and 200 grain members of the Howard Shock family. So when we compare the ballistics of the 180 grain 360 core-locked load and compare it with the very similar 170 grain 30-30 load, we see that the 360 not only starts at a higher velocity and keeps that velocity advantage for about 150 yards, but actually maintains an energy advantage throughout about 200 yards. At the same time, through guns of the same weight, the 360 only generates about 2 extra foot-pounds of free recoil energy compared to the 30-30, and to be honest, your shoulder's not going to be able to tell the difference. Henry is partnering with Remington right out of the gate to offer a couple different 360 Buckhammer chambered rifles. Not only this one here, which is the steel Cygate version with a 20-inch barrel, but they're also coming out with an X model that instead has, polymer furniture, a big loop lever, as well as a longer 21.5-inch threaded barrel. And quick to jump on the bandwagon, Magnum Research has already announced that it will be offering a BFR, its single-action revolver, chambered in 360 Buckhammer. Now, Rifleman was actually able to use a 360 chambered Henry last season for a whitetail hunt in Ohio, and we were actually able to harvest both a buck and a doe with it. The buck at 118 yards and the doe at 54 yards. He ran about 50 yards before piling up and created a pretty nice blood trail that was easy to follow, and she was DRT. Straight wall hunters, particularly those who favor lever action rifles and revolvers, should be excited about this. Remington's 360 Buckhammer not only gives them another solid option, it gives them one of their best yet.